guys, welcome to a new session of Read Aloud. I'm so sorry my video looks a little bit dark today. Turns out I just lost power. And with power, no AC and no internet. So hopefully they fix it before I actually have to upload everything onto the internet. So I'm going to try my best to make it so that it's a little bit lighter. But the most important thing is that you listen to the read aloud and not necessarily look at me. Okay, so yesterday we were reading about all that capture the flag fun, in which Percy realized that he was actually pretty talented on the with a sword, especially when he got in water. Um, so when he stepped out of the water, he started feeling like his adrenaline rushed out of his body. He started feeling tired, and he also healed. He was able to heal a wound on his arm by being inside the water. Okay, so the camper. Oh, so they were finishing the capture the flag game, and suddenly Percy started hearing that growling like canine, so sort of like a dog growling inside of the woods, and all of the excitement instantly died down when there was a howl that ripped through the forest. So the campers' cheering died instantly. Chiron shouted something in ancient Greek, which I would only realize later I had understood perfectly. Stand ready! Annabeth drew her sword. There on the rocks just above us was a black hound the size of a rhino, with lava red eyes and fangs like daggers. It was looking straight at me. Nobody moved except Annabeth, who yelled, "Percy, run!" She tried to step in front of me, but the hound was too fast. It leaped over her, an enormous shadow with teeth, and just as it hit me, as I stumbled backwards and felt its razor-sharp claws ripping through my armor, there was a cascade of thocking sounds, like 40 pieces of paper being ripped one after the other. From the hound's neck sprouted a cluster of arrows. The monster fell dead at my feet. By some miracle, I was still alive. I didn't want to look underneath the ruins of my shredded armor. My chest felt warm and wet, and I knew I was badly cut. Another second, and the monster would have turned me into 100 pounds of delicatessen meat. Chiron trotted up next to us, a bow in his hand, his face grim. "The Immortals," Annabeth said. "That's a hellhound from the fields of punishment. They're not supposed to." "Someone summoned it," Chiron said. "Someone inside the camp." Luke came over, the banner in his hand forgotten, his moment of glory gone. Clarice yelled, "It's all Percy's fault. Percy summoned it." "Be quiet, child," Chiron told her. We watched the body of the hellhound melt into a shadow, soaking into the ground until it disappeared. "You're wounded," Annabeth told me. "Quick, Percy, get in the water." "I'm okay." "No, you're not," she said. "Chiron, watch this." I was too tired to argue. I stepped back into the creek, and the whole camp gathered around me. Instantly, I felt better. I could feel the cuts on my chest closing up. Some of the campers gasped. "Look, I don't know why," I said, trying to apologize. I'm sorry." But they weren't watching my wounds heal. They were staring at something above my head. "Percy," Annabeth said, pointing. By the time I looked up, the sign was already fading, but I could still make out the hologram of green light spinning and gleaming. A three-tipped spear, a trident. "Your father," Annabeth murmured. "This is really not good." "It is determined," Kyron announced. All around me, campers started kneeling, even the heiress cabin, though they didn't look happy about it. My father, I asked, completely bewildered. Poseidon, said Chiron. Earthshaker, Stormbringer, father of the horses. Hail, Perseus Jackson, son of the sea god. And that's the end of this chapter. And all we have time for. I'm kidding. So, now we know that Percy is actually son of Poseidon, which is why he turns way more powerful whenever he's inside or in contact with water. Okay? So, next chapter is chapter 9, and it's called I Am Offered a Quest. The next morning, Chiron moved me to cabin 3. I didn't have to share with anybody. I had plenty of room for all of my stuff. The Minotaur's horn, one set of spare clothes, and a toiletry bag. Are you hearing those wild hounds? It's Chuchi and Polo. Hey! 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 Sorry, guys, it's their playtime. Okay, so, not a lot of things he has, right? I gotta sit down at my own dinner table, pick all my own activities, call lights out whenever I felt like it, and not listening to anybody else. And I was absolutely miserable. Just when I started to feel accepted, to feel like I had a home in cabin 11, and I might be a normal kid, or as normal as you can be when you're a half-blood, I'd been separated out as if I'd had some rare disease. Nobody mentioned the hellhounds, but I got the feeling they were all talking about it behind my back. The attack had scared everybody. It sent 2 messages. 1, that I was the son of the sea god, and 2, monsters would stop at nothing to kill me. They could even invade the camp that had always been considered safe. The other campers steered clear of me as much as possible. Cabin 11 was too nervous to have a sword class with me after what I'd done to the heiress's folks in the woods, so my lessons with Luke became one-on-one. He pushed me harder than ever and wasn't afraid to bruise me up in the process. You're going to need all the training you can get, he promised, as we were working with swords and flaming torches. Now, let's try that viper beheaded strike again. 50 more repetitions. Annabeth still taught me Greek in the mornings, but she seemed distracted. Every time I said something, she scowled at me as if I just poked her between the eyes. After lessons, she would walk away muttering to herself, Quest? Poseidon? Dirty rotten. Gotta make a plan. Even Clarice kept her distance, though her venomous looks made it clear that she wanted to kill me for breaking her magic spear. I wish she would just yell or punch me or something. I'd rather get into fights every day than to be ignored. I knew somebody at camp resented me, because one night I came into my cabin and found a mortal newspaper dropped inside of my doorway, a copy of the New York Daily News, open to the Metro pages. The article took me almost an hour to read because the angrier I got, the more the words floated around the page. Boy and mother still missing after freak car accident, by Eileen Smythe. Sally Jackson and son Percy are still missing 1 week after their mysterious disappearance. The family's badly burned 78 Camaro was discovered last Saturday on North Long Island Road with the roof ripped off and the front axle broken. The car had flipped and skidded for several hundred feet before exploding. Mother and son had gone for a weekend vacation to Montauk, but left hastily under mysterious circumstances. Small traces of blood were found in the car and near the scene of the wreck, but there were no other signs of the missing Jacksons. Residents in the rural area reported seeing nothing unusual around the time of the accident. Miss Jackson's husband, Gabe Ugliano, claims that his stepson, Percy Jackson, is a troubled child who has been kicked out of numerous boarding schools and has expressed violent tendencies in the past. Police would not say whether son Percy is a suspect in his mother's disappearance, but they have not ruled out foul play. Below are recent pictures of Sally Jackson and Percy. Police urge anyone with information to call the following toll-free Crime Stoppers hotline. The phone number was circled with black marker. I wadded up the paper and threw it away, and then flopped down in my bunk bed in the middle of my empty cabin. Lights out, I told myself miserably. And I will continue on the next video.